Immigration and immigration caseworkers, some of them are demonic. Some of them are inhuman. And I say it boldly with confidence, without any apologies. Many immigration or officers and caseworkers are racist. They don't want you in this country. Immigrants, mostly the majority, are not allowed to claim benefits or to work or to get public housing. So Anti-Kemi, Badnock, of Conservative Party has no other agenda apart from immigration. About the British populace cannot dissect. How can we put the blame of 14 years of the Conservative misrule on someone that has been there for less than a year?
A year ago, Keir Starmer said on the news, immigrants are not the problem in the UK. Low-cost housing, low pay, and bad politicians are the problem. 1 year later, and we have new immigration laws in the UK. And today in the studio, we have a lawyer who's just recently granted an interview for BBC, so we're lucky to have him. And he's going to be telling us about these new immigration laws that's just been introduced by the government. And we're going to be asking questions around that. So to introduce himself, we have Lawyer Daly in the studio. We're happy to have you.
Happy to be here. Yes, you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. So tell us, how did you get into immigration law?
That's interesting. I got here February 1990 as an immigrant, as a visitor.
Okay.
On a 3-day mission, and then at most 2 weeks. But I've been here for 35, going to 36 years. My visit is yet to end because I found a wife.
Okay.
Found 3 children, now adults. Found a career, found a ministry.
Oh.
I found my destiny.
Fantastic.
So when I got here, I met my wife, a brave citizen, was born here, taken to Nigeria by the parents like Kemi, Badnock. And that's why I'm always on her case. And she came back, we met here, and we got married, and I applied to the Home Office to be allowed to stay, and they refused. And they said I should be reporting at the police station. And I did that for 8 years, 3 times a week. And
for 8 years, 3 times a week?
8 years of my life. Our firstborn was yet to be conceived when I started reporting.
Even though you were married and your wife is British?
Yes. Okay. And then we gave birth to the child. He turned 6. And I was still reporting. So after reporting for 7 years, I went to report on a Sunday morning, and they arrested me and locked me up at Tottenham police station. I've delivered many people from that station since then. So they locked me up for 4 days. And on the 4th day, they took me to Gatwick Airport to deport me. And we got an injunction, but they did not release me. They took me to Hammondsworth Detention Center near Heathrow. That was to be my home for another 5 weeks.
Wow.
And I was studying law. I was in the 2nd year of a law degree. Program. And eventually we applied for bail. Again, they refused. Eventually, they let me go. I got my stay. Became a brave citizen in 2001. And whilst in detention, I saw people from over 50 countries. Some of them didn't know why they were there.
Yeah.
Some of them thought they had their cases with the Home Office, not knowing that the lawyers did not do anything. Some of them couldn't speak a word of English. And I saw that there was a jamboree of confusion in there. So I made up my mind. And that was my vow to God, that if I'm released, I will fight for the immigrants and educate them. So when I qualified and became a solicitor, immigration became a personal mission for me. So people, when they talk about me, they say he's an immigration lawyer. I'm not an immigration lawyer, more than an immigration lawyer. I'm a solicitor.
Okay.
I've run a legal practice for 21 years. By the 2nd of August, it will be 21 years that I set up Dell & Co. Solicitors in the heart of London. I do many areas of law. I do family, criminal, charity law, employment law. I'm ubiquitous and equally good in that. But on TV, I've been doing a program called The Legal Panorama for 21 years.
What channel is that?
That's on Faith World TV.
Faith World.
I've done it on Ben TV. I've done it on Revelation TV. I've done it on Believe TV, and I've been on Faith World TV for many years. But I've been a constant. And what I do there is just to explain UK immigration law. So that was what got me into it, because for everyone under the authority of my voice watching this telecast, this podcast, in most cases, you will rise through the battles you have won. Your platform of challenges becomes the platform of testimony, and you can say, I've been through it, and I've done it.
Yeah. Fantastic. It's quite inspirational, your story, and especially you were in this country, because it still baffles me, for 7 years and reporting to the police station 3 times a week.
8 years.
Yes, 8 years. So on the 7th year, they locked you up.
Yes.
What changed?
They got inspired to punish me. I don't know. Immigration law rules and immigration caseworkers. Some of them are demonic, Some of them are inhuman. And I say it boldly with confidence, without any apologies. Many immigration officers and caseworkers are racists.
Yeah.
They don't want you in this country. And no matter how good your case is, they can refuse it. And mine was as an example of that, because by the time they decided to detain me, I had 2 children.
So a British citizen.
My wife, yes,
British citizen.
Yes, and I didn't commit any crime. What they said was I overstayed before making my application, but it was messed up by my lawyer that I used, because they sent him letters and he did not respond. He didn't even tell me. So it had nothing to do with me per se. But they were unreasonable. They were irrational. And they made my life hell. But listen closely. That changed the game. It was actually a blessing in disguise. Now, what made me to decide to study law was that I was waiting, reporting. Then I decided not to waste my life. Whilst you are waiting, make progress, move forward. So I made up my mind, okay, I will walk one way or the other. I'm a Nigerian. We are creative.
Yeah, very creative.
And hungry and determined. We are resilient.
Absolutely.
We are crazy.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to get a law degree. If they want to deport me, I will go and practice in Nigeria. So that was why I got into it. I decided not to waste my life. But some caseworkers, they are crazy. And I hope they are watching this. And that's why I've been fighting for 25 years.
To nail.
Yes, I've been really crazy with them, because it has become a mission to deliver those that are going through immigration challenges.
You don't mind me asking, in those 8 years, how were you surviving? Because were you allowed to work because your case was with the Home Office, or were you allowed to claim benefit? Because one of the issues we're having in society today is, and we're going to talk about it, everybody believes that immigrants are all refugees are the only immigrants.
They're ignorant.
And then basically
No.
they come into this country, the government gives them a house, put them in an hotel,
No.
give them money, and then they're living large.
No.
So in those 8 years, what were you
They
doing?
are a vast majority of UK citizens are ignorant because they don't know what is going on. Immigrants, mostly the majority, are not allowed to claim benefits or to work or to get public housing. So they are not a burden on the society. I was not allowed to work. I was not allowed to claim public fund. I've been here for 35, 36 years. I think getting public fund for me is an insult.
Yeah,
because they can't sustain my lifestyle. What are you talking about? My wife tried her best to support us, to support me.
Good woman.
And that's why it's important to marry well.
Yeah.
Because it will see you through your struggle. And by the 8th of June, it will be 33 years of marriage. When I wanted to start the law practice, my wife gave me some money to support starting the law firm.
So you were here.
Yes.
You weren't claiming benefit.
No.
You were still paying into the system.
Of course.
To study.
Of course. I paid my fees. I didn't get a bursary. I didn't get a student loan. I didn't get any assistance from the government.
And they arrested you after 8 years?
Yes. And to go to the law school, I took a loan from the bank, which I paid for 7 years after graduating from the law school. I contributed to the economy. So people thinking...
With interest. You took a loan with interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think, seriously, and I personally, I love the Prime Minister. I don't know. Or in his white paper,
yeah,
that wasn't Keir Starmer. It was political exigencies.
But why can't, and you might be right, but we've said, even though we're talking about immigration, but we must say this. The current Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has changed his mind. Now they call him roundabout. So he always makes 360 U-turn on almost all the decisions he's made. So few allowance, they're making a 360. Immigration, they're making a 360. Why can't he got a majority by miles? He has the majority in the House of Parliament. This is an opportunity for somebody, if they have a blueprint for the UK's economy or the UK people, to stand forth and say, you know what, I'm going to be radical with my approach. It's made U-turn. You're not bothered by all of this U-turn he's made?
I am, but if you know the British people, I've lived there for 35, going to 36 years. If you know the British people, they don't care why you are doing certain things. They just want to kick your ass. Okay. And he knows that.
Yeah.
So they don't, once the Reform Party is pushing an agenda and has been able to, have been able to convince the traditional Britons to say that the immigrants are the problems, it is set in their mind. Keir Starmer knows that. Anti-Kemi, Badnoch, or Conservative Party has no other agenda apart from immigration.
Yeah.
If you can't beat them,
join them.
So what Keir Starmer did is what I would have done as a leader.
Join them.
To say that, look, okay, they are telling you this, I am not soft on immigration. I will do something, but I will do it differently from what they are proposing. That was what he did. And listen closely. If you are in power, you can change a lot of things if you are still there. Now, I feel sorry for Keir Starmer. The Conservative Party were there for 14 years.
Yes, they were.
They couldn't handle immigration, despite being They couldn't control immigration. Despite having several prime ministers during the 15-year period, they all lule, as they all fell,
Yes.
as they will say. So he has only been there for a year, even maybe less than a year.
Less than a year.
Less,
It's gonna
so,
be a year in June.
and they are putting all the blame on immigration. Actually, the conservative parties, led by Kemi Badenoch, they are shameless. But the British populace cannot dissect and be able to reason that, hang on, how can we put the blame of 14 years of the conservative misrule on someone that has been there for less than a year? But the public are gullible. So that was why he had to do that, because if you don't change, you die.
Okay. So let's talk about these new immigration laws. And before we go in there, the certain
I'll say proposed.
proposed because it's still a white paper.
Yeah,
it's still a white paper.
Yes.
Yeah. So proposed immigration law. So I would go from conservatives.
Yes.
When they came into power, the certain things when Theresa May was Home Office Secretary, the certain things that were implemented that did drop immigration. So we know that Labour, in their history, when Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, they were very pro-immigration. They're not like they were pro-immigrants. Their policies were very favorable to immigrants.
Okay.
So there were a lot of people that came into the UK at that time, and they needed that money.
You mean Tony Blair?
Tony Blair and Gordon
Oh,
Brown.
I got my reprieve during his time.
His time,
It
yeah.
was the Conservative Party that punished me.
Yeah, I understand.
They are
so
crazy.
The
party.
Labour, the Labour has always been the
Pro-immigrant.
Yeah, pro-immigrant. So soft touch is pro-immigrant because when there was global recession and the UK was in trouble and the Conservative came into government because Labour said we're broke, no money. Conservative came into government. First thing they did was to withdraw HSMP and also to cancel post-study visa. So the 2 years that graduates do get automatically that left, and the HSMP, which is you show that
Highly skilled migrant
program, you show that you can.
Which they made a hash of.
Yes, you're making a certain amount of money. You can show evidence that you're making that money to the Home Office. You get it 5 years or 3 years, whatever you apply for. So that left, and immigration did drop. To be fair, because a lot of students decided not to come into the UK.
Of course, they have a choice.
Yes, they do have a choice. So they went to Canada, they went to Australia, they went to US and those other English-speaking countries. Some even went to the Scandinavians. I had a friend, Gose, who went to Sweden on the back of that. Now, the question is, it's almost like a 360 wheel for me in terms of the government needs skill force. They relaxed the immigration law. They let people in, and then the government the public start complaining.
No, I think let us be deliberate with what we say.
Yeah.
The Conservative government needed workers.
Yeah.
And they decided to open
the care visa route.
It was their fault, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you
COVID,
keep saying conservative, I will enjoy you.
Okay. So now before we go into when they introduced the care visa.
Yeah.
So the immigration dropped from outside of the EU.
Yes.
We were still members of the EU.
Yes.
And then we had
Brexit. Yeah.
And then the Eastern Europeans who would normally do the low-skilled jobs that British people don't want to do because they have, it's rather better to be on benefit for some people than to do those low-skilled paying jobs because they don't pay well anyways and there's too much work. Then the Eastern Europeans decided that, no, you know what? With Brexit, our country is not actually that bad. A lot of organizations are moving from manufacturing, are moving from the UK to Poland, they're moving to Lithuania. We get a better job when we go back home and probably better respect than the left. That created a vacuum. And hence, we have the pandemic. So we have care homes, we have really low skill paying jobs
and hospitals
that nobody wanted to do because of the death rate. Hence, in the care visa, because they needed those people.
Yes.
Now they brought them in, and now the government is in the white paper, they're looking at those visas as part of what they're bringing in, so to prevent them from, the Conservatives started, so they cannot bring their family members in anymore. And then we can see the outcome where The number of immigrants coming to the UK has actually dropped by about 300,000, I think, when last year. And then this white paper. Can you tell us more of what is in this white paper and how it's going to affect immigrants going forward?
Okay. What they are saying is no skilled workers, care workers from outside the United Kingdom. That's what they are proposing. And that they are saying there is a shortfall of 130,000 workers
Yes.
in the care industry today. So they needed 130,000.
30,000.
They are saying hospitals and care homes should look for those 130,000, even if they are overstayers, even if they even
If they were on another visa.
on another visit, and employ them. Actually, there's a displaced pool of care workers that were brought in by agencies and these fraudulent care companies and agencies that brought them and had
And
no
there are no
job for
jobs.
them. They said they should employ this 130,000, and then they should embark on an aggressive training program to train British citizens and residents
Yeah.
to do the job, because there are a lot of people that are on benefits, are not working. They want to get them back into work. Very good idea, but again myopic, because many of the citizens are not ready to work. They are enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
They earn more than those that are working. Do you understand? Because I do see their universal credit and say, wow, these people are earning more than me. But that's for another day. So so that is part of it. They are talking of the fact that immigrants that are coming must be able to speak English, write English, including their dependents. Again,
Has that not been? That's always been there.
it's always been there, but they have not usually made it compulsory
dependent for
the
dependents.
dependents.
Yeah.
So I think that in that aspect, people coming to the United Kingdom must be able
To speak English.
to
Take granted.
speak English, because it will help them
To integrate.
and to work, to make contributions to the society. Because I do see a lot of people, not necessarily from my home country of Nigeria, holding a British passport, and they cannot speak a word of English.
Word of English.
So I think that's an anomaly.
But how did that happen though? Because every immigrant that comes into the country is meant to write an English test before they become British citizen.
No, not every.
Okay.
So if you're coming to the UK as a skilled worker, you are supposed to pass English language, but your dependents
are
don't
not
have
required to do that.
unless they are coming for settlement.
Yes.
So what they are saying is that whether you are coming for a settlement or limited,
work.
you need to, your dependents need to, and it will help the dependents also.
Absolutely.
Because by the time they get here, they will be able to integrate.
Even in school. But
yes.
how old would this dependent needs to be able to speak
I believe
English?
from the age of 18.
18.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is an aspect of it. I mean, it's neither here not there. Also, what they are saying is this: if you come to the UK, they don't want you to get here and in 5 years you have gotten a settlement, and you have a year later you become a British citizen. So within 6 years, you are already a British citizen. What they are saying is, we want you to be here for 10 years.
Yeah.
We can assess you as to your contribution, your inputs, your lack of criminality, and then getting settlement becomes a benefit.
Does it take 10 years to assess somebody's behavior personality and their contribution to the society. A lot of these guys are skilled workers in the first place.
Not necessarily. Spouses of British citizens are not necessarily skilled workers. Spouses of skilled workers are not necessarily skilled workers. Students that came into the UK to study are not necessarily skilled. Do you understand? So there is this huge pool of people that get in one way or the other without being skilled. And what happens with people that are unskilled is that they are likely to depend on benefit in the future.
After that 5 years, when they're eligible to start claiming benefit.
When they're eligible. So they are trying to say, well, we want you to prove yourself. And that's why they are saying settlement is not a privilege. It's not a right, but it's now a privilege.
So are they saying they're going to introduce some criteria before those people become settled? Because if somebody is going to wait it out for 5 years so that they can claim benefit after 6 because they are dependent, what's stopping them from waiting out for 9 years? We already see people in the UK who waited for 9-10 years before they became British citizens.
Yes. You see, living on benefit can be habitual.
Yeah.
Can be a habit. But if you see people who have engaged themselves in creditable endeavors and have acquired skills before they get settlement, they will hardly say they want to rely on benefits.
Absolutely.
Because they will have become an asset. They will have become an institution on their... For example, someone like me, there's nothing that I hated
than
like being on public one, because it cannot fund my lifestyle. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
My children went to private schools in this country where education is free. So how are you going to be on benefit? So what they are trying to do, again, they have a right to do this.
They
to
do.
Say, look, we want to only attract the best, highly skilled to our country. They do that in America. They do that in Canada. They do that in Australia.
Yeah.
And they do that in many European countries. For example, in Germany, if you get there and you are not able to speak Dutch, all right, you'll be useless. And you are not going to really break through.
Yeah.
So what the United Kingdom is doing is similar to what they are doing elsewhere.
But
so
let's look at this 5-10 years, because I'm struggling with it. Right. So if you're going to have a dependent, I'm just looking at the Muslim immigrants, which I'm part of as well. When they come into this country, especially the doctors, the lawyers, the computer scientists, or the IT tech people, by the time they are 5 years in the UK, the salary threshold is already over what they can claim any benefit for, including child benefit. So their partner isn't even able to claim, of course, if they start lying to the government and say they're single parent, even though, and we see that in society even these days, because I've heard people talk about it, where they said, "Oh, I'm single, but your partner is already in the house with you." But this thing as well is not just peculiar to immigrants; it's peculiar to a lot of people in the UK because of how harsh, even British citizens, because of how harsh the tax system of this country is, because you work hard and they're taxing you 45% of your salary, and you have two people. So if you're earning 80,000 in the UK, then you're not entitled to any benefit because they deduct it from your taxes. Same also as your partner not eligible for benefit because they look at the household income of the highest earner. But if two people are earning 60,000, which is 120,000 household income, only 60,000 only, 60,000 each, man and woman, they can still claim child benefit without any penalty. So the system in itself is kind of like, is weird for me. But where I'm going to with this is, most of these immigrants, their partners cannot claim benefit other than the new care visa, where they are on low salary, so they will be eligible. But a sizable proportion of immigrants that come into this country on skilled visa, by the time they become British citizen, by their 6th year, are not entitled to benefit, neither is their partner. So I don't see the essence of the 10 years. It's almost like they just play into the gallery.
No, I see it as a lawyer. I know what they are trying to do. Okay. You see, when you spend 5 years, in the 6th year and you become a British citizen, if you commit a crime offense, a criminal offense, you committed a criminal offense, they want to make it easy to deport you.
Okay.
How? Okay, so, but once you become a British citizen,
It's almost practically impossible.
It's highly impossible. If you are sent to jail, you will say come out back into the society. And what they are trying to say is that we want to make sure that if you live here or you will live here, you have to be devoid of criminality. So if we keep you on a 10-year route, you will behave yourself, you will be a good citizen. Do you understand? And during that time, you may rack up criminal records and offenses. At the 11th year, we will be waiting for you to come to become a British citizen, and we will say no. And if you have indefinite leave for 30 years and you committed a criminal offense and you are sentenced to a term of imprisonment of 12 months or more, you will still be liable to deportation. So it's not just about benefit. It's about good character. It's about making sure that people that want to live here behave themselves and that they are good citizens. You may say that, okay, but their children commit criminal offenses and
I was just going to say that.
No, but it's their country.
So they're allowed to.
They were born here. If they do things, they will deal with them according to their law. But you that is a foreigner, if you want to become one of us, you've got to be a good example in this society. But now, when they look at the statistics of people in prison, they saw that there are loads of foreigners, immigrants in prison.
But is the legal system rigged against immigrants?
I wouldn't say that, because as a lawyer, there are certain things I cannot say. Look, the thing there is that I have been in the system for 35, 36 years, and I've represented clients all over the United Kingdom. I've argued in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. I've represented clients in magistrate courts, in county courts, in the high court, in the immigration court, employment tribunal. I've appeared before Ofsted because I do represent organizations registered with Ofsted. I've appeared before the GMC, General Medical Council, to represent doctors. I've appeared before the Nursing and Midwifery Council to represent nurses and midwives. Okay? And I can say confidently that the justice system is fair.
Okay.
And I can say I have enjoyed the profession 25 years. And my 3 children saw how good the profession has been to me, that they also became lawyers and are practicing without me forcing them to do it. So,
what do you think? Okay, let me paint this scenario.
Okay.
2 people, one British, one non, just want to use that word, so let's say maybe they are stopped on the road for maybe insurance, lack of insurance on the car, and they give the same story. So maybe I did my insurance, but I don't know what happened. Are they going to be treated the same or differently every single time that they are accosted? And what I mean by that is any one of them likely to be taken to the police station, or another one likely to be believed and say, you know what, you can check your record and probably report to us in 2 weeks?
Yeah, but that wasn't the question you asked me earlier. You say
No,
is the justice system rigged against, and I said no.
No, yeah.
Now, again, among policemen are racists.
Okay.
Among the policemen, enforcers of the law, are people who have that prejudice. Among policemen are people who have never been out of this country, and they are enforcing the law. Some are ignorant. And for every human being, we have our discretion. They may decide not to exercise their discretion on the immigrant behalf. There are bad people, bad eggs in the police force. But that is not necessarily the law. It is based on an individual's discretion. We were coming to this studio today. We ran into traffic. We came late. You called the studio. The guy could have said, well, you've lost the session. But he allowed us in, welcomed us, was very friendly, had time to ask us questions. That is him. It does not mean everyone that works in this studio will behave like him.
No.
So we are different. But because even in the country that I came from, Nigeria, there's no justice. You can't say there is law, but the enforcement of the law, you can't predict what will happen from one moment to the other. So that's why I'm trying to say that I've had policemen stopping me severally, or in this country, and they'll stop me. I'm always respectful, always decent. I know they are doing their job, and I respect them. And on each occasion, they have let me go. And I don't notice this recurrent comments. You are a gentleman, very respectful. The other day, I just left the court near Heathrow, and there was a fault with the car. I was driving, the policemen were coming after me, and they stopped me, and I was respectful. The guy hugged me. He said, go that way, and make sure you are going to your office. I can see that you are very honest. If not, another colleague of mine may stop you. So they are nice policemen, enforcers of the law. They are nice judges. There was a particular judge I appeared before 6 times.
6 times.
And I lost the cases.
6
cases,
times.
6 cases, different cases.
Yeah.
And I won all the 6 cases when I appealed to a higher court. They are judges like that. They just want to dismiss
So
your
we
case.
can't use 1 or 2 or 3 people to generalize for the whole system.
No. I mean, I have enjoyed my stay in the United Kingdom for the past 35, 36 years reasonably well, despite all my challenges, despite all the obstacles, and I have been to over 40 countries. I will say United Kingdom is one of the best and liberal country in the world.
In the world.
It's a great country. And I clap for them, you know? Yeah.
Good. So the 10 years route, we have the care visa that is going to be curtailed as well, being the very first and most popular
But that one too is a joke.
The care visa.
They will need workers. They will soon reverse that. Don't worry. Because they don't have people that want to
do the job.
These guys are not ready.
But why are the politicians always not facing the reality? Because
they don't have a better policy. So they have to pick on the weak. That is the nature of the world. Yeah.
So very soon they're going to realize, oh, these guys that we've been trying to
they're already realizing
benefit.
They're already realizing it. Yeah.
They're already realizing it now, even though the white paper hasn't started.
Of course. Yeah. But I've been here, they've been changing rules and policies. To me, as a lawyer, it doesn't move me. When they finish with their law, we find the loopholes.
Yeah. Okay. You put out a tweet. I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And he actually made it to Daddy Freeze as well, where two people traveled out of the UK.
Yes.
And then they went for an Owambe.
Yes.
In Lagos.
Yes.
And on their return,
Yeah. They went to enjoy themselves.
They went to enjoy themselves. And on their return, apparently, they don't have a visa and they're not aware, or the visa has been
No,
cancelled.
they had a visa.
Okay.
But the visa they were granted was to work with a particular employer. And they have never worked with
that
the
employer, because the employer
and
doesn't
they
have a
were
job.
working for another employer. So without having a right to work with the other employer. So when they got to the point of entry, they asked them where they are working. And they said they are working with the people
That
gave them the visa. I was okay, no problem. They called those people and they said, well, they have never worked for us.
But I don't understand this, because I was thinking when I saw that tweet, I was thinking they were a victim of the latest visa scam where a care home sponsors people. Even though they don't have a job.
It wasn't something like that.
Yeah.
They were here. They got that visa, entry clearance. They were approved as a skilled worker. But they didn't work for that employer.
Isn't that naivety? That's the first thing they'll tell you if you have a tier 2 visa.
Yes. No. I think maybe they were not getting enough shifts or of that. But listen closely. If you are watching this podcast, if you are given a visa to work for a particular employer and you don't work for them and you are working elsewhere, you are in breach of your visa, and it will be cancelled immediately if you cannot prove at the point of entry, or if you have an issue with an immigration officer or the police within the country, your visa will be cancelled because that is seen as a change of circumstance. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the visa will be cancelled unless you can prove otherwise. So that was what happened to them, and they had to send them back.
Interesting. Because thank you for explaining that, because when I saw that, I just straight away thought like, oh, shouldn't the Home Office have sent a letter if they were going to revoke somebody's visa? Send them a letter to give them how many days in the UK to look for another visa.
No,
but it wasn't the case.
For cases like that where you have never worked
for that person,
according to the immigration rule, your visa is to be cancelled immediately.
Okay. So the employers kind of
it ends with immediate effect.
I didn't know that. At least I've learned something new.
Yeah, you guys have got to pay for it.
Yeah, for the tape. Yeah. So another question, looking at the UK. So the general confusion of immigrants and refugees, and also are refugees actually refugees? So one of the things our friend Keir Starmer said was, "I will squash the gang and stop the boat." The boats are still coming in droves. Why is it so difficult to stop people coming into this country? One, what is the attraction for them coming into the country? And two, are they actually genuine refugees, or they are also economic migrants that are just playing the system?
I don't think I'm in the position to say that they are economic migrants, because he who feels it knows it. Many countries outside the European Union are barbaric. Their government terrible. There's no human rights. Even in our home country, where we came from, we know there are injustice, and you have the big pocket, full pocket. Then you get justice for even after you are guilty, you'll be the winner. So, but it's a combination of everything you have said. Those small boats, that's the business of some people. and they get life-changing money from each would-be immigrant. Some of them are economic migrants. Some of them are refugees. But they are supposed to claim refugee
In the first
status
safe country.
in the first safe country that they landed in. But as I said to you, this country, United Kingdom,
Has a soft touch, a soft underbelly.
not really. Don't. It's a great country.
It is.
It is.
But
it's a
France
small.
is a great company.
Yeah.
A country. Germany is a
No,
great
no.
country.
If you see the way they treat immigrants in France, you will cry for them. You can have a French passport or this or that. You may not get a job and things like that. Many because my wife loves Paris. Love France generally, but mostly Paris. We've been going to, there was a time we were going to France every year for about 20 years.
20
every
years,
year, before we decided to be going to Spain. So we see the lives. And even if you are in Spain, what do these guys sell? Weed, drug, belt, fake.
That's what migrants do over there. You see
Yes,
them on the beach.
fake glasses and shades, and so they don't do proper. But here, if you behave yourself in the UK, you can become what you want to become, who you want to become. So that is the attraction.
That's a pull.
They are a bit soft on immigration, and it is because also they are the heart of democracy, human rights, and this or that. And the United Kingdom also are signatories to many international agreements, rules, conventions that they are part of. So they can't treat people anyhow. So when Anti-Kemian started saying that they should disapply the Human Rights Act to immigration cases, that was the height of ignorance, because you can't do that. Apart from people coming within the immigration rules through the immigration and law, the Human Rights Act is the savior of many unfortunate people in the system. So to say they should disapply them, I think it's a wicked idea.
Okay. Fair enough. I have a strong belief that if you're actually a refugee, you should claim asylum in the first safe country you get to. And if you're hell-bent on coming to the UK, come in a legal way and not use the boat. Yes, and I know there's a business there, but it's almost like a chicken and an egg. There was a market before the business. People have been, clandestines have been jumping on trucks, trying to come to the UK for a long time before the boat started and started smuggling people because the market was there. So that I still believe that the pool is that soft touch in the UK, the houses they're given, the hotels they're lodged in, and all of those things. And this is just my perception. If we adopt and do it properly, because one of the things we do here is we put laws in place and they just made mediocrity out of it. And what I'm saying with that is something like the Rwanda scheme. We saw it work in Australia. If people come here and they're taken to some place to be processed, the genuine people will still come in eventually because they will take time to know them, take time to process their stories and bring them in. That way, the cost probably, it will deter people that are not genuine refugees from coming to the country through that means, because they're going to be found out and they're going to be deported. Then they will have to, if you want to come to the UK, do it in a proper way, apply for visa like every other person that came into this country. My last question for you, and thank you very much for all of those insights. What advice do you have for people that are reading this white paper and are concerned? Because a lot of people have reached out to me, and I did put an article out as well. And I saw a lady put out something on LinkedIn to say that she's got anxiety because of the white paper. What advice will you give to immigrants that are not yet British citizens and are concerned by the white paper?
I'll say don't worry. Since the beginning of the world, till the end of the world, there'll be immigration control, there'll be rules, there'll be laws, there'll be legislation, there'll be policies, but people will still survive. They are proposing whatever is on the white paper, but it's still going to go through the parliament, and some of them will be struck down, some of them will be amended. It's not being implemented immediately. And then also the court is there, who are the impartial arbiter, and they don't care what the government thinks. They will do justice. The immigration courts, upper tribunal, the high court, the court of appeal, the Supreme Court, a lot will still happen. But be on the right side of the law. Don't commit crime. Don't stab people. Don't go to chat pages and be talking to underage children. Don't drive. Don't drive without insurance. Don't sell drugs. Don't mess up people's life. Don't rape people. Don't
get accused of rape.
Yeah,
even if you haven't done it. Don't put yourself in a situation.
Don't put yourself
in
that position. Don't fight people. Don't beat your wife, because if you beat them and you injure them and you are charged with GBH and you are sentenced, you are a criminal. You are going. So stop fighting each other. You understand? Also, for you that are already here, maybe on a 5-year road to settlement, the white paper will not affect you.
Good.
So Sayatuku, have that peace of mind. Hello, Fokambale. No qualms. And if you run into trouble,
in the word of Emiloko,
if you run into trouble, we are here. We are the helper of the helpless.
Absolutely.
After God, lawyers, we are here. We'll be able to interpret the law and the rules and be able to fight battle. If you are battling with anxiety and get legal advice, get on the phone to me. Come and see me, or you contact our office. I think one of the major problem with fellow Nigerians. I must say it on this podcast. We were former Nigerians, like Kemi Badenoch. Is that our people are so stingy? They don't want to pay. Now, I've told you my struggles and my challenges to become a solicitor. You want to call me to get a free advice? It's an insult. You get it?
Absolutely.
So when you ask them to pay, they don't want to pay. Now, you have a lot of people that are having issues with the social services when they want to take their children. You tell them, pay consultation fee so that you can give them the advice that will save them from their children being taken away. They will not pay. Immigration challenges, they want free advice. And let me tell you, we are a lawyer. I'm a senior lawyer.
Not small lawyer.
Yes, sir. I've been a solicitor for 21 years.
Wow.
So there are things I know too that some junior lawyers will not know. They may give you free advice. The law that I practice now is not just the law, but we practice experience. I have watched this movie before. I've done a case study.
You know the end point.
Yeah. So it's like someone that has just gotten married, yet to have children. I've raised 3 adult children in this society. I can tell you how to raise them. Not only that, I've pastored the church that I founded. I've been a pastor for 23 years. I can tell you this is not how to run a family. This is not. You can't beat the experience.
Absolutely.
You want it?
Yeah.
You pay for it.
You pay for it. Guys, you've heard it.
Yeah.
You want it, you pay for it. Don't be stingy, but all of those advices, don't get into a situation, a position where you are on the other side of the law, because then you have a big problem. But if you do find yourself in problem, or you don't even know, you're concerned about the white paper, you don't know what to do, we have our amicable lawyer, Dele here. And I've got his contact details as well. I'm not going to say it on this call, but what's the name of your practice again?
Dell and Co. Solicitors.
Dell and Co. Solicitors. You can find them on the internet, and you can also send me an email, and I will be able to refer you to them as well. Because I know there are a lot of people that reach out to me personally, even before this podcast, about the white paper and what they need to do. And because I mentor people into health and safety as well, I have a lot of people that still say, "Oh, I've got 7 months left on my visa, 6 months left on my visa. I've not gotten a job yet, no sponsorship. What do I need to do? Should I do care job and all of those things?" I just say, "I'm not an expert. I can only give you my own advice." But now we have an expert who you can easily contact. So we do thank you for coming on the show. Your insight has been greatly received, and I'm sure a lot of people have learned one or two things, especially the British public as well, who
have never been out of the country.
Never been out of the country.
They think immigrants are the problem.
Yeah,
we are not.
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.